Hello everyone, we are back for another hour of web components. This is hour number 12. This is the 12th day. We've been doing this for 12 hours now, or this will be 12 hours. I'm dreaming about web components. That's how many web components we've written. Anyways, yesterday we worked on the tomato timer element, egg timer, pomodoro, whatever you want to call it. It was a timer that counts from 25 minutes down to 0, and then it counts another 5 minutes, and it does that tick tock over again. And we played with a few APIs, notifications API. So if you want to have a look at that, that's on the 24. I just realised site admin mode's on yet again. I keep turning this off, and it never turns off. 24 web components is the organisation. And that's the tomato timer element. Time for another one. So today we're going to be doing a toot and bed. Okay, so this is an attempt. We're going to try and attempt to embed a Mastodon post into the page. So I guess toot embed element. Need to create it. Toot embed element. Let's make this public. And I should be able to clone it now. And I'll need to do the usual. So we're going to cd into it. I'm going to npm install. I'm going to run npm start in a different window because you don't need to see the server. We're going to move the custom element. It's going to be called toot embed. We don't have an editor open, right? Toot embed source toot embed, and we want the index HTML, and we want to we want to replace this with toot embed, and we want to replace this with toot embed element. There we go. Okay, we should have the wave. Wait, we haven't even got the server. How can we have a wave if we haven't got the server? Okay, we have the server open. And it says not found, which is great. Toot embed element. Well, things have really gone wrong all of a sudden. Okay, what is not found? Just not found. Is it examples? It's examples. I just got the URL wrong. Okay, so we've got our wave. We want to get rid of that. Now, because we're making a request to an API, let me turn this fan off. That's probably an annoying noise. We're making a request to an API, so we want to get, we want to have a source attribute, I would say. We're going to return this .get attribute source. We'll always make sure it's a string. And we're going to set the source. And if you set the source, then we will set it to whatever you provide, which will be a string. That's easy. We also want to observe attributes. We want to observe changes to the source, and when the source changes, we'll trigger off a load to get it to do the fetch. So let's have an attribute change callback, and the attribute change callback gets a name, which is only going to be source. It can only ever be the properties that are in the observed attributes. I mean, it could be other stuff because it's a public method. You could call it with anything, but realistically, that's not going to happen. The old value, which is either a string or null, and the new value, which is a string or null. We'll do a couple of boilerplatey kind of guards here. We'll say if we're not connected, we'll return. and if we are if we don't have a render route, which we'll also set up, so we're going to have a render route. You should be familiar with this by now. But a render route, we're going to just make a little private field called render route, and it's going to contain our shadow route. And if that doesn't exist, we're going to return. I think we'll also do a check to make sure if the old value is equal to the new value. We just don't want to do anything, so we'll return then. And now we can get to our actual logic. So I think we're just going to call this .load. And that needs to be defined on here. So we'll call this .load. And load is going to do something. There's an error here for some reason. Let's have a look. What is the error? So this setters cannot return a value. That's fine. Load does not exist on toot embed. Yeah, it does. It's right here. Is this just... no. Did I miss something here? Nope. I don't understand why this is saying it's not on the element. It is on the element. It's right there. Oh, there's two. I don't know if you can see that. There's two curly braces there. Somehow I managed to do that. Okay, so this can go down here. So we've got a source. We're observing the source, and we need to do something with it. We also want to check if this .source. We probably want to call load. Sorry about my cough. I've still got a bit of a chest infection. Okay. So what are we going to do when we load? Well, let's find... I've gone this far, I don't even know what we're actually going to do with this. We're going to load a Mastodon tweet. Let's just go... This is my instance that I am on. And let's find... I'll find a toot of mine. I guess this toot will do, won't it? So we just want to copy this URL, I guess. But I guess there's an API. I literally have no idea what the kind of API is for Mastodon. Like we could literally take this page, but I'm imagining there's some kind of JSON API. Because this probably isn't the best thing to try and parse this. There's like linear gradients and stuff. There must be some kind of... I mean, there's this, perhaps? Nope, that is probably not the right one. Let's Google Mastodon API, or DuckDuckGo Mastodon API. And let's see. Running Mastodon, developing Mastodon apps, getting started with the API, an introduction to REST. I don't think we need an introduction to REST. What we need to know is how to get a toot. Playing with public data, endpoints. Okay, so here is a timeline. Maybe we can do a bit of reverse engineering. If I just go to IndieWeb Social and just fetch the timeline. This is one thing that's pretty disappointing about Chrome. There is no default JSON view. If I put this into Firefox, I get some nice JSON. I could get a nice JSON viewer. Oh, I can just append JSON to the toot URL. It says no, Joe. Let's try that. I should have just tried that. Yeah, that's perfect. Yeah, that's what we want. Okay, well in that case, we could do that automatically here, right? So we can. So let's see this toot embed source. Not that one. This one. So this is my toot that I want to embed. Sometimes I open the network inspector in Chrome to see the formatted JSON response. That's a great idea as well, Trout Soda. So if I go to inspect and I go to network, I guess I need to refresh. Yeah, there it is. This one, response, oh, preview, and then I get all of these. Yeah, this is great. And so if I do the same to this, we can get a bit of a nicer view. Whoops. Okay, let's, I wanted to resize this. No. Why? Where's the resize thing? Is it not this one? How do I I just want to get rid of this timing info. What do I click to get rid of this? Show overview. There we go. I just want them to maximize the space of the preview. So we've got an at context. We've got a CC content. This is what we're after. Okay, so load's probably going to be an async function. We can call fetch this.source. And we want to check. So Trout Soda says settings cog might remove some of the overhead. That's a great shout there. Yeah. I think this one as well. There we go. Now we're talking. Look at this. Yeah, this is great. So we probably want to do some magic with the source. So we can say this.source. What we could do is we can try parsing this as a URL. So we can say new URL. And then if we console log the source out, just to see what we've got. I'll throw open the inspector as well. We should see. So we've got a URL. We've got the host, the path name. So I should be able to mutate the path name and just add equal JSON. And then we can say only do that if source path name ends with JSON. So if it doesn't end with JSON, add JSON to the end, and then we can fetch it. And so now we can await this, and so we're going to get the response, and then we want to from the response we want to say JSON await response JSON, and we should have some JSON then to play with. Okay. So if I refresh, we get a failed to fetch, and the reason it failed to fetch is it was a 200. That doesn't sound right. So there's no cause access control policy because the requested resource didn't have cause. That's going to be a real kicker for us. Does this not have cause headers? Headers. Response headers. There is no cause headers. There's no. It would also be a pre-flight header, I guess. I don't know where you check that actually. Well, that's a real stinker, isn't it? No access control allow origin header is on the requested resource. Oh, we can set the requests mode no cause. Should we try doing this? No cause fetch. Because it's just JSON, right? We don't want to... is it just mode no cause in the fetch? It is as well. Okay. Whoops. So we just say mode no cause, apparently. I don't know why my editor sometimes decides my indent is all the way out to the right. Okay, so we're still getting a promise. Or is it? Wait, this is a syntax error. Oh yeah, this should be. This isn't necessary, but whatever. It will quiet the lint error. Right, it's saying insert. If I just run prettier here. Okay. We're still getting a syntax error. Why are we getting a syntax error? Unexpected end of input. I wonder if it's part of this fetch response. Let's log the response as well. See how we go. Okay, so we got the response. the URL is empty, which is not the most promising. I just realized this should be source. Headers is empty. Body is null. Let's double check our source. Okay, so our source still looks great. I'm going to go visit this URL again. Let's close this. So we definitely get some JSON back. Let's put this in the dev tools. Oh wait. Of course we're going to need the mode no cause. Mode no cause. So there's our temp1. So await temp1.json. Unexpected end of input. What is text? It's just empty. Why is this giving me a totally blank response? Is this because of the no cause thing? Fetch no cause. Oops. Maybe there was some more information that I should have looked at. Go away cookie thing. It's not headers no cause. Is it? No. Oops, no cause. No cause only allows a limited set of headers. That's fine. I mean, I'll add method get, but I'm pretty sure that's not needed. Do we need to... Maybe we need some accept headers. Like some content negotiation headers. So maybe it needs a content type of application JSON. Let's try that. See where we get to. So we're still getting... The thing that's jarring me here is that this URL is totally empty, which I don't like. But we have got a valid URL. What else are we missing? I mean, it could be a redirect. Let me try this again here. Oops. Source is not defined. Of course it isn't. Okay, let's do this again. Const response. Oops. Const response equals. So mode no cause, method get. Headers. Just copy this. And we got nothing back. I guess. Yeah, see, we're still getting this opaque URL. Response.txt is just going to be empty again, I'm sure. Status 0. I did see something. Status 0. Fetch. No cause. This doesn't make much sense. I can't. How does it know that it's a CDN? I mean, it's an HTTPS URL. This is a valid URL. But without cause, we get the issue. Sends back an opaque response, you can't get the JSON. That's exactly the problem that we have. I don't know if any of these are going to be of any use. I think the only alternative is to set up a server in between, but I'd really rather not do that. Prevents the method from being anything other than head, get, and post. I mean, let's try the head as well. Let's, we should be able to get the head of an information without any real cause stuff. Response is opaque. If I take off mode no cause, I should still be able to get the head, right? Or is that going to block it as well? That's really annoying. Well, this is not turning out so great. Who would have thought it would be so hard to just get a piece of JSON? Wonder what magic we're missing. Mode, no cause. Response. We get this. Yeah, this is. I wonder if. Let's look at the network tab. Let's open up a inspector. I'll resize this so we've got a bit of the console. If I run this request, oops. See, it's coming through 1.3K. Accept star. I'm being an idiot. It's accept, not content type that I want, and I reckon that's probably gonna help quite a bit. Let's try accept here. Response. Yeah, we still get the opaque. This is the button I was after. It's receiving the data surely, because it says 1.3 kilobytes. Excuse me, I apologize. It's coming from, like, it's got like response headers. The response header is application. Not that should. I mean, if it's serving up this content type, then the content negotiation has happened, so that's fine. This alternate link shouldn't be a problem unless there's a redirect that's happening. But then the response was a 200. The fact that we're getting, I mean, this is a head request, but like the fact that we're getting the full response with all the headers is a good thing, I think. Let's try switching to the full get. Maybe the problem was just the accept header. But there's still no response data. And if I look at response, I get this opaque response. Calls is really frustrating. It is. There's nothing you can really do about it either, because the server needs to add these pre-flight headers. So the server needs to tell the browser that this is an acceptable service to connect to. Without, like, I don't own IndieWeb, and so I can't tell IndieWeb Social, certainly not in this time it takes for this stream to happen. I can't tell them to add that calls header, and so like we're kind of stuck here. Like we can, I mean, maybe I can curl for it and we can see that it's actually working. If I just curl this, that would be interesting actually. Without any, yeah, so without any additional headers, like the full curl header output is like get the host header. It has a user agent and it has accept //. So it's not the content negotiation header. It wasn't the fact that this was missing. Because yeah, all that's come straight back down is the JSON. So like the server knows what to do, but unfortunately, because it hasn't got this allow header, I forget the name of it. Access control allow origin. If that was set, if it had a header of access control allow origin star, it would be fine. It would fetch the JSON, and we could be happily on our way. But I think because it doesn't, we're kind of stuck. I mean, we could always. Excuse me, that was my foot slipping on my chair. I guess what we could do, we could add the JSON in. So if we popped it in the script tag for now, and then when I might file a bug on like Mastodon that this should be a content. This should have the access control allow origin header, because I don't see why it would be that egregious for certainly if it's just the JSON to just have that be able to be loaded by other websites. Anyway, so we'll load it. I'm going to try to do this. So if I curl it, copy link address, it should. Yeah, give me the JSON. So here's all the JSON. And so if we go look in our script, wait, that's not the right one. This script, yeah, we've got the JSON in here, so we can, for now, we can say if this.query selector script type application JSON we'll like get the JSON, I guess. Nope, that's not what I wanted. Yeah, so we'll set the JSON to the. This should not be this. This is messed up. So we'll query to see if we've got a script type application JSON. If we have, we'll just set the JSON to the text content. Maybe JSON parsed text content. And then we'll call this .render. Let's make render a private method as well. And then, what doesn't this like? Oh, it doesn't like query selector inside connected callback. So let's have this private JSON. This is just going to be an any for now. And then so if we have the script tag, we skip the loading, and then one day when the loading's working, we can say this.json equals this.render. Maybe we should just say this.render JSON. And I'll do the same here. Oops. Yeah. And so now we don't need this JSON private field. So now we need to define a render method. And this is going to take the JSON. And we don't know what the JSON looks like. It should be an unknown, really. Excuse me. Okay. So let's console log the JSON and see if we've got it successfully. Yeah, there's the JSON. So I think that the most important part is this content. Now we kind of don't want to just drop this in, but also in a production web component, you would not want to query a server, grab a bunch of HTML, certainly an untrusted server, grab a bunch of HTML, just stick it in there. That would be a pretty terrible idea. But for the purposes of this demo, for the purposes of this stream, we're totally going to do that. So we're making a render route. So let's make this render route. So we're going to say render route, attach shadow, mode, mode, open. And we might want this one closed, considering it's a website embed. For now, let's just set the inner HTML to the JSON.content. But I think we want to wrap it, right? Because it's just the content, and we probably want some of the stuff around. Like, it would be nice to get the avatar, the name. It might be nice to have like a follow button and like similar style to this tweet. So, this toot. So I think we want to, you know, make some HTML for this. So let's say let's have a div class content. Let's make this a part. Why not make it a pie? Oops. And we're going to. So this now needs to. We need to get the part. So content part. We're going to return this dot render route query selector part equals content, and then that just lets us do some shorthand here where we can say this content part in our HTML should equal JSON content, and we've given ourselves an error now. Is it a syntax error? Who knows? There's so many red squigglies here. Let's so the render route inner HTML div part content part returns render route query selector part content, and this says content part inner HTML equals JSON content. If in doubt, console log. So we're getting the content part, and we've got the JSON content, right? And so in our shadow route, we've got this part. I made this a method. I meant to make it a getter. There we go. Cool. So now I think we want to also know about the author. So we're going to look at the rest of the JSON. So let's have a look at the other pieces of this JSON. So we've got an ID, which might be worthwhile looking at. We've got a to. I don't know if this is worth looking at. We must have an author somewhere, right? Context. It's an activity stream. CC. CC all of the followers. That's an interesting thing. This content map, I guess, is just for different languages. Replies. I'm shocked that this doesn't have an author of any kind. Attributed to? Maybe this is the author. So let's say attributed to and content. Is there anything else that we would need whilst we're here? Attributed to. I guess we need to make another request, which is going to fail to get the user's handle. I guess we could do some URL parsing for that. I wonder if there's anything else that this can give us that is. Yeah, I don't think it's quite limited actually. It's quite surprisingly limited, the JSON that is provided here. I wonder if there's additional linked data that we can look at. Like a lot of these APIs include, you can add like additional fields in the query parameters. I wonder if that is something in the API documentation. So statuses, view a single status, path parameters, ID. See, there's an account here, so there is different information here. This makes me wonder if there's a different endpoint. Because this is API v1 statuses ID. So, given this ID, if I went to IndieWeb Social API v1 statuses, right? So this, let's do Trout Soda's trick of looking at the network inspector. I need to refresh, don't I? Response? No, preview. Yeah, check this out. This is totally different. This is a totally different response because there's the content, emojis, which I never saw. There's also this card stuff, and this is, I think, what has all of the useful information that we care about, including a blur hash. That's really cool. Wait. This card is for the Twitch link, because this status, if I go back to the status, it is this one, right? And so the card refers to this, I guess. But that certainly wasn't in the previous API. So this is a totally different API response. I'm very compelled to compare them. Let's go back to our curl here. In fact, let's pipe curl through JQ. We'll get a nicer thing. So here we had a context. There's no context in here. We've got an ID. The ID is a string. The ID is a URL. And then there's these kind of not that evident what some of these fields are for. Like, I guess it is, but like to and CC. But there's no authorship information here. It still looks like there's no authorship information here, to be honest, though. Oh no, there is. Account. I just missed it. See, this is the kind of thing I was thinking of, is that there's a display name. Even my beautiful description that says that I'm a revered thought guru and cyber shepherd. So this is the kind of thing I was thinking about, and the URL of my account. So this is quite interesting. I don't know why they're different responses, but anyway, we're going to get that response, I guess, instead. So let's get rid of this, and we're going to curl this one instead. And I guess just for later refactoring, well, actually, so I wonder if this one has the cause allow headers. I guess there's only one way to find out, which is to fetch it. Whoops, oh wait, spelled the right way. Check it out. So await temp1 JSON. So this one has the calls allow headers. So why the other one doesn't, I have no idea. But this one is the one that we actually want to go for, I guess. Then, so we can get rid of this. We can call the load method, which should still render, right? It should still be rendering. unexpected end of input. We don't need this JSON anymore, I guess. We're getting an internal server error. Oh, this is because of this. Unexpected end of input. Have I just... This is the API status is... Oh, we don't need the no calls anymore. There we go. Okay. So there's two API endpoints. One of them doesn't have calls, one of them does. And use the one that does have the calls allow headers. We don't need any of this now anyway. This is all pretty much implicit. we wanted to look at the authorship as well. That was the key thing here. So I think what I want to do, I want to add like an author. Whoops. And I guess we'll add that here. I guess this could be a part as well. And we'll style this stuff. Or we can style this stuff. I don't know, there's only 20 minutes left. This is the author part. We need to change this to author before we end up debugging that forever. So the author part is going to not be JSON content. It is going to be let's console log the JSON again. It's going to be the account. Where is it? I guess ACCT account, or the account display name is maybe the better one. So this is just content. This is account display name. Okay, we're getting a bit closer. And then, unfortunately, I don't know how easy it would be to have an avatar of. Because there is the avatar static. What's the difference between these? That's not what I wanted to do. There's my avatar. And this one is the same image. So let's add an image. Avatar. And images don't need closing tags. And we're going to do the same thing here. We're going to say static get image part, or avatar part, I guess. And we want to say the avatar part source is going to equal the account avatar. And that's absolutely giant, so let's immediately resize that down so we're not looking at my face so large. 50 pixels. Even smaller, 24. There we go, that's about the right size. We don't want giant Keith. We don't want giant Keith. Okay. We have an avatar. We have the username. None of these are clickable, and it doesn't look as cool as the Mastodon status. There's zero styling here. I wonder what is the fields thing? I'm getting interested by some of these now. Where is the URL of the actual toot? URI, URL, URL. So I think maybe we could also wrap. Well, I don't know what the best thing to do here is, but because I don't think we want this whole thing to be a clickable link to, because there's links within it. So maybe we just want a like original toot, and this part I'll call this a backlink, and we'll do the same thing. Whoops! If I can use my editor. We're going to say backlink part. It's going to be a backlink, and this is not. Oh, this is badly clickable. We need to set this. So this is going to be the backlink part. Ref is going to be. What is it going to be? It's going to be URL. So I want URL to destructure from here. Fantastic. That's great. So this would be cool as well. I don't know if we can get this handle. I didn't see that in the API. I'm going to do this, and then this looks a little nicer. Let's see. Let's stare at some JSON, because that's super interesting. Super interesting thing to watch someone do on a stream is stare at some JSON. I cannot see. Oh, there's this URL, but it's not quite in the same format, which is weird. Because this one, no. This one is at Keithamus at indieweb.social, and this is indieweb.social at Keithamus, which I don't like. I want the cool one that isn't a URL. It's like a weird email address thing. Maybe we'll have a. Maybe we'll convert it. Maybe we'll. Let's have. Let's call this author name, and let's call this author handle. So this is the author name part, and then we're going to get the author handle part. URL.path name. You could grab it in. You could grab that URL and then format it. URL path name at URL host name. I think the format is standardized. What Nojo said. Yeah, I think that's a good idea. We'll try that. So we're going to. This needs to be author name part. Then we're going to say author handle part was the account URL, but we're going to say new URL. Let's call this handle URL, new URL, account URL, and then we'll do exactly as you say, Nojo. So we're going to say handle URL path name at handle URL host name. Boom, look at that, that looks great. Why is there a slash there? That's not right. There is no longer a slash there. We've done it. This is starting to come together quite nicely. Now, do we do some CSS, or should we look at something else? Because we could also add the card. There is the card. And we do have that data, which is disappearing because I think that's a very old response. Here's the card data. I'm really interested in this blur hash. Only 12 minutes left. Sounds like a perfect amount of time to get stuck on some CSS. Oh, and I've also randomly pasted a string. How did I do that? How has this been working the entire time with a string randomly there? Let's add some CSS. Styles, new CSS style sheet. Oh, CSS style sheet. DNTNT says strings are no op in JS. Yeah, like use strict. That was like a little stanza that did nothing. Well, it did something in browsers that read it, but yeah. Okay, we're gonna styles replace sync. We're gonna put some CSS in here, and we can use parts now. We can have some fun with some parts. The host border 1 pixel solid grey, just so we can see that we're actually getting somewhere. Of course, I need to add it in our connector callback. We're gonna say Adopted style sheets, push styles. This needs to be display block. There we go. Okay. Now, I'm tempted to just put this to the side so that I can have a bit of a visual reference. I guess we want to... I'm very tempted to play around with some CSS grid, but I have a feeling that's going to take the entire 10 minutes as well. But what do you all think about some CSS grid action? Is anyone familiar with CSS grid? So you can say display grid, and you can say grid template. Now, you can like portion different areas. So my understanding on this isn't great. My CSS is like sketchy at best. But I think I can say the avatar should go here. The username, or I guess this is the display name, should go here. And then I need to do that again. And this is going to be 1FR. This is like one fraction of a row. And then I say the avatar here, and then the what do we call it? A handle. Handle. And this is going to be 1FR. Right, so things are messed up at the moment, but if I said part, I've forgotten the part names already, author name, should be in the grid area of display name. Maybe it would make sense to make these consistent. Author name, author name, author name. Okay, and then the part handle should be in the handle. Do parts work like this in the shadow root? I honestly, I don't remember so well. They should do, right? Do I need to prefix it host? Host. Or do I just select for it? I think I just select for it, right? That's the syntax from outside. Yeah, so I have to just say part... I just have to say part author name. Right, yeah, so the colon part pseudo syntax is for if you're styling the outside, but when you're inside, you have to use attribute selector syntax, which is a little bit weird. It would be nice if they were both. Okay, this is kind of working, I feel like. Oh, why is this so difficult to grab? Let's check on the grid. So we've got a three row grid, 3 column grid, and a 2 row grid. And so it's avatar author name, avatar handle, and then I think we should say, I think we want to say post post post. And so each the whole bottom row should be taken up by just one grid area. And so now when we say part post, is it? Part content. Content. Let's change this to content as well. I like having these all in line. And then we want to say like auto. Okay, so we're kind of there. I guess we need another row for backlink. And again, we need to specify it 3 times because we've got 3 columns. And then we also need to say that this is the grid area. Backlink, grid area, backlink. Yeah, see, did you see it move down there? So we're getting close. So this avatar, oh, it's because I haven't done the avatar part. Okay, there we go. Did you see that fall in? So if we show the grid now, right, so the avatar is taking up this content. if I change the width of the avatar now, if I get rid of the width, it should. Oh my god, no. Okay, let's not do that. It should have expanded to the size of the grid. But anyway, we'll turn the grid on so you can see where stuff's flowing. So the post, which is labeled content, is only on the third row, and it's taking up the entire third row. The backlink is taking up the entire fourth row, although you can't really see. I don't even know if this will. Yeah, there you go. You can see. Excuse me. The A tag is taking up the entire fourth row. The content is taking up the entire third row. The handle, the author handle, interestingly, is only taking up the second column of the third row, even though it's supposed to span across these two. And then the name, that's even weirder, that the name, did I get this wrong somehow? Content, handle. The name is spanning both, and the image, the image is fixed width, so it's kind of floating, I guess. But it's weird that the handle isn't spanning both. I think we can size these now as well, right? So this could be 25 pixels. That should shrink that right down. And then this could be 25 pixels. And then these three rows, these can be adjusted as well. So this can be 25 pixels, which is not right because the image is 50 pixels. So this needs to be at least 50 pixels, but it might be nice to give it a little bit of padding. Maybe set the size, the bottom two rows to max content. How would I do that though, Joe? The bottom two rows, like this one, just like this, max content. I did not know that was a thing. I'm learning. Yeah, that's cool. So I think this is looking a bit more organized, right? We've got this kind of nice grid layout. We could do some fancier stuff in the last 3 minutes, like border radius on the avatar. What, 8 pixels? Oh no, that made things go very wrong. There we go. Maybe 6 pixels. 8 is a bit too luxury for us, I think. 4 even. There we go. That's a utilitarian border radius right there. I don't want any 8 pixel border radiuses. This isn't a spa. Jeez. Alright. This is looking good. This needs to be a different colour, but I think with 2 minutes left we can we can call this one a good solid try. And I'm deaf in one ear now, and my throat is itchy. So I'm enjoying my my illness. I hope I'm not giving anyone my illness via the stream. I don't know how germs spread. I'm not a doctor. Let's commit this. I haven't got anyone to. I haven't been working with anyone today. It's just me on my own over here. I think we've got some special guests next week though. I should have a look at my calendar. We've got some very special guests next week. Some very, very special guests next week. Right, let's push this up. I don't know if this is useful to anyone. I feel like this kind of could be useful. And I feel like it could be made way more useful. This might actually be one of the components that turns into something that kind of lives beyond this 24 component stream. So if anyone is interested in working on this, it is of course open source. I might work on it a little bit more to get it into a decent place where it can actually be used on a website somewhere. But anyway, until tomorrow. Wait, it's Friday today, isn't it? It is indeed Friday. Until Monday, I'll see you all around. Thanks for hanging out. This has been a fun little web component. I think we're on like the home stretch now. I think there's less than 10 web components to do to get to 24. But we'll see. I guess we can... 16. We've got 16 components. My super maths brain tells me that there's 8 left to do. 8's not bad. We've got 5 days left to do them. 8 components in 5 days next week. It's going to be fun. I'll see you all around.